Hello, BookTube. And one of the many lessons that I've learned in my short time as a booktuber is that there are some days that are much harder than others to get in front of a camera and be happy. Even when I know that I'm talking to the rest of you, I adore that so much. Uh, and today is one of those days, of course. I unplugged from the world last night and read all night long, and it was delightful. And then this morning I plugged back into the world to news that of the worst mass shooting in American history. Um, Dozens dead, hundreds wounded, gunmen dead, and the usual chit chat on social media and the talking news head programs about how maybe this is the time, maybe this is the time to finally pass anything in the way of gun legislation, anything that would stop a mentally unstable man from buying a military assault rifle that belongs on the battlefield and not in personal possession. Uh, that was a tough morning to look at all that and realize that nothing is going to change, and that the it's like pundits have said. There have been dozens of pundits who've said that if Sandy Hook didn't change this thing, if dead children didn't change the death grip that the gun lobby has on the United States government, then nothing will. And ever since, we've been seeing that. And now we've got this gigantic wound in the country, and it felt. I thought about it all day while I was doing other things, and I thought, well, how can you make a video, you know, opening mail with that on your mind? But there are going to be more of these. There'll be another mass shooting in America this week. This is Monday. There'll be one by Friday. So, to an extent, I can't make that kind of pause if I unless I want to just shutter the channel completely. So I thought what I'd do instead. I do have mail here. I got a small mail delivery. I thought what I'd do instead is just sort of shamelessly lean on you uh, for help in maybe turning my mood around a little. Uh, so I thought we'd go through the mail and just talk about it, and then I'll wrap up. It won't be a long video. It's not that much in the way of packages for today. But we'll see what we have. I have work to do today. I have a conference call. I have uh, deadlines. So it's it's not like I can be paralyzed anyway. It's just it nevertheless feels paralyzing. It's just so frustrating to live in a country that could easily enact um, laws to stop this sort of thing from happening. It would be easy to do. And this country doesn't do it, not even make a gesture in that direction. So this, uh, so there's been a gigantic mass killing in the United States by a lunatic with a military assault rifle that fires hundreds of rounds every minute, uh, and there could be one tomorrow. I could plug back into the real world tomorrow from tonight's reading, and encounter the exact same thing. This time in a mall where there was a fashion show, or at a rodeo, or on a beachside walkway in Southern California. And it could happen on Wednesday as well, and Thursday. Every morning I could wake up and see this, and nothing will change, because the people who can change it, the lawmakers in Washington D.C., absolutely will not, under any circumstances whatsoever. So, uh, in addition to the sadness of the event, there's also a mountain of frustration. Well, anyway, let's look at the mail and see if it can distract me into the grooves that I need to get into for the rest of the day. I can't just keep obsessing about this. Well, anyway, let's see what we have here. Uh, okay, I don't know this at all. This is from And Other Stories. The publisher is called And Other Stories. It's a paperback that's coming out in a day or two. It's by Yoshi Havilo, and it's called Petite Fleur. Collection of short stories, maybe. Uh, yeah, Le Figaro says you'll read this book in a single sitting, carried along by lively rhythm and a wacky plot, leavened by a blend of darkness and cruelty. We don't often come across this kind of novel, a drama played for laughs. So is this? Yeah, it's translated by Lorna Scott Fox. Okay, so it's a very brief novella, dark humor. It sounds like probably not the thing I'll be doing today, but let's move on. Let's see what else we have here. Of course, I thought one of the first things I thought this morning was of the rest of you. Is because there are so many people involved in this tragedy, so many people dead, and so many people wounded, known by so many people who are known by so many people that I automatically thought, well, are any of my people, you, affected? It's just anyway. I'm not doing a good job talking myself out of this thing, so let's move on here. All right, so this is an Oxford University Press finished copy, came out a month ago. It's Illusions of Victory by Carter Malkasian, The Anbar Awakening and the Rise of the Islamic State. So I think I probably know what this is about, right? In the years immediately following the 2006 surge of American troops in Iraq, the defeat of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, in Anbar province, was regarded as one of the signature strategy victories. With the American military assistance, the fractious tribal sheikhs united in an awakening, in quotes, which would ultimately lead to the defeat of the brutal Al-Qaeda in Iraq, AQI. The awakening not only became a victory snatched from the jaws of defeat, but evidence that smart, properly resourced counterinsurgency strategies could work. A decade later, the situation in Anbar province is dramatically different. Beginning in 2014, much of the province fell to AQI's successor organization, ISIS, which swept through the region with shocking ease. In Illusions of Victory, eminent scholar and diplomat Carter Malkasian examines the wreckage. Drawing on his own experience in Anbar as the U.S. Marine advisor before the surge, he demonstrates why victory was unstable and American optimism misplaced. Okay. All right. So it sounds like he was on the ground. It sounds like he might know a good deal of what he's talking about. I never got an advanced copy, but I'll definitely read this finished copy. So what is next here? Okay. Another thing I did not request. This comes out next year. This is Himalaya Bound. One family's quest to save their animals and an ancient way of life. Is this going to come out in hardcover? Yes, it is. Following the incredible journey across the Sahara in Men of Salt, Michael Benevav, that's the author, Michael Benevav, immerses himself with the Van Gurgers, a tribe of forest-dwelling nomadic water buffalo herders during their annual spring migration into the Himalayas. Even more than a glimpse into an endangered culture, this beautiful book is an exploration of the relationship between humankind and wild lands and the effect of conservation efforts on the species and people they are meant to protect. Okay. Interesting. Water buffalo herders. I tell you, I never know what I'm going to get. Let's move on here. I confess, what you probably know already is that I was really hoping for a Steve book in this pile. I already get the feeling I'm not going to get one, but that's probably just as well. What is this next one? Oh, okay. All right. This is from Orcasi's Press. Okay. This might do as a Steve book. It might come close. This is Culture Fever by a writer named Stephen Akey, who is an extremely talented reviewer. Very nice. The reason that I know he's an extremely talented reviewer is because he wrote for Open Letters Monthly, the online literary journal where I am the managing editor. And his pieces were standout. Even with the talented people that we get, his pieces were excellent. If I remember, I'll link a couple of them down below. And he now has a book. And not to toot our own horn, but I'm the managing editor. I can if anybody can. He joins a long list of people who went on to publish books, who wrote with us first, who loved the experience. The Open Letters editorial experience is fairly hands-on, friendly, but thorough. We have our masthead has some fairly heavy hitters on it in terms of publication history, professional contacts, and most especially prose style. So if you work with us, it's a thing that we've heard from many writers. If you work with us, your craft at this sort of thing, the sort of thing that I do for a living, will improve. And this is wonderful. Okay, until this moment, I did not know what Stephen Akey looked like. Isn't that something? And this is a collection of, he wrote on poetry. He's such a good writer on poetry. Yeah, this is all about, oh, I know some of these pieces. Son of a gun. I wonder if he mentions us in his acknowledgments. Essays in this collection originally appeared in a somewhat different form and sometimes with different titles in the following journals. The New Republic, wow, didn't know that. Open Letters Monthly, there we go, yay. The Millions, the Rumpus, and the Smart Set. I am grateful to the editors of all those journals, and especially to Steve Donahue and Richard Abowitz from the Smart Set for their criticism and encouragement. I was one of many editors that he had. Okay, great. That's great. Okay, so Stephen Akey has a book, Culture Fever. In this particular instance, I am going to break with tradition on this channel and urge you all to go and buy it. Just go to Amazon, look up Culture Fever by Stephen Akey, and buy a copy. If you want really good writing, you'll have a whole book of it on your doorstep in a couple of days. And then we have this last one, this big white package here. We'll see. Wonderful. Speaking of poetry, this is the finished copy of Jonathan Blunk's James Wright: A Life in Poetry. Definitive biography of James Wright that I don't think I ever got the advanced copy, so I'm glad to have the finished copy. I had to read the advanced copy elsewhere. I don't think I ever got a copy of my own, and I loved it. It's really, really good. This has been a really good year for biographies, and one thing I've noticed with a lot of the really good ones is that they're groundbreaking. I've read in 2017. I've read probably 6 or 7 major biographies that were the very first ever written about their subject. There are plenty of years where that isn't true. We don't get even one. So let's see what we have to say here. James Wright is an unsung giant of American letters. His poems of the working class and the disenfranchised have been championed by countless writers, from Mary Oliver to Stanley Kunitz to Robert Bly, and his core readership has long displayed an unusual level of devotion. He is the only American poet to have had an annual festival thrown in his honor. The festival was held for 27 years, from 1980 to 2007. Pretty sure that Edgar Allan Poe and Walt Whitman have both had festivals devoted to them, and Emily Dickinson maybe too, but maybe the author means living. Wright's plain-spoken verse, however, has long eluded the household fame of some of his more well-known contemporaries. That's true. Not 100% sure that Wright would have objected to that. Either way, this is it's a somber, heavy, well-made volume, and I can't wait to dig into it and see what maybe was in it is in the finished copy that wasn't in the advanced copy that I read. I don't think I even finished reading the advanced copy. Oh, this is great. This is fantastic. This is a serious work of biography. It comes out in October, of course, so I don't have long. But anyway, there you go. That's a short mail haul. Still managed to make a long video because I just talk. I could easily have gotten on camera and just talked without any books or props or tags or anything. I could easily have done that. It would have felt good to do. So we have James Wright, A Life in Poetry. We have Culture Fever by Stephen Akey, a book you should all go and buy. We have Himalaya Bound, about a isolated and dying culture We have Illusions of Victory about the temporary advantage of the surge in the Anbar province, and we have Petite Fleur, a dark novella. So that's a small and kind of an odd off tempo mail haul. Although it has an open letters book, so that'll be the highlight for me. Um, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go for now and just try to lose myself in work. And I will see you all soon. Thank you.